Enigma at Hillsberry High. It was the exhilarating last day of school at Hillsberry High, and the tightly knit group of 7 friends, Alex, Maya, Jake, Emily, Matt, Sarah, and Chris, could hardly contain their excitement as they anticipated the boundless adventures of their upcoming summer break. They had been counting down the days with a mix of glee and impatience, each moment bringing them closer to freedom. As they strolled out of the old brick school building, a spontaneous plan formed. They decided to stop by the charming local library, a hidden gem with its quaint exterior and the faint, nostalgic scent of aged paper. Inside, the shelves crowded with dusty tomes beckoned to them like whispers from another time. For hours, they wandered through the labyrinth of books, each one a potential adventure waiting to unfold. Just as they were about to leave, Emily, with her insatiable curiosity, unearthed an ancient-looking book nestled between 2 other volumes. Its worn leather cover exuded mystery, and the title, The Myths of Hillsberry, drew them in like a moth to a flame. A peculiar symbol was etched into the cover, hinting at secrets long forgotten. Initially met with hesitation, Emily's contagious enthusiasm soon swayed her friends, and they decided to take the book along. She carefully tucked it into her backpack, excitement bubbling in her chest. The group hopped onto their bikes and pedaled toward Maya's house, their laughter echoing against the gray, cloud-dotted sky. As they rode, a light drizzle began to fall, painting the world in a silvery hue. Sarah suddenly piped up, "So, what movie are we watching tonight? I'm in the mood for a scary flick." "I'm with you on that," Matt replied, and a chorus of agreement followed. Arriving at Maya's cozy home, they all dropped their backpacks, the inviting atmosphere wrapped around them like a warm blanket. Maya's mom was a master at creating a spotless sanctuary, and the snack spread was always a feast for the senses. With a burst of energy, Emily dashed upstairs to her friend's room to check her phone, getting a message from her mom telling her to not come home. This is average message her mom sent, seeing her dad is very abusive towards them and beats then cozy drinks a lot since his mom was murdered and never found. Still doesn't give him the right to do these things though. Emily decides to pick Friday the 13th for their movie. It's a recent release and has great ratings as her friends come up with the popcorn, and Jake says, "So what are we watching tonight?" Emily replies, "Friday the 13th. Matt gets a little excited saying, "I heard this was really good." Emily says, "I'ma go get that book out of my backpack for later." She gets up off the soft bed and walks down the stairs, grabbing her backpack from the front door, unzipping it and grabbing the book and going back up the stairs to the room. The group watch the movie and notice they have ran out of snacks. They pause the television. The group again leaves Emily alone in the room, and as she hears the creaking on the floor, steps fade and stop. She grabs the book and opens it. Jake refills the popcorn and noticed Matt a little down and upset. He walks over to Matt and asks, "Are you okay, dude?" But suddenly, Emily's voice echoed through the house, "You guys have to see this." The friends raced upstairs. They crossed the threshold into Maya's room. There, they were met with an unbelievable sight. The book was floating in midair, glowing softly. The door behind them slammed shut with a deafening thud, locking them inside. Panic gripped Jake as he rushed to the door, but no amount of pulling could budge the stubborn lock. Suddenly, the atmosphere grew thick with an unsettling energy. The ancient book began to write, inscribing their deepest fears on its pages. As feelings of dread washed over them, nausea struck like lightning, and before they could comprehend what was happening, they collapsed to the ground, consciousness slipping away like a whispered secret. As the group gradually awakens from their disorienting stupor, a persistent scent of mildew hangs in the air. They exchange uneasy glances as the creaking of floorboards above resonates ominously. Alex scans their surroundings, searching for a means of escape from the dusty basement. His eyes land on a door in a dark tunnel. "So, which way should we go?" he queries. Emily, shivering slightly, responds, I think we should try the door." With a determined expression, Chris rises from the floor and cautiously strides towards the door, the others trailing closely behind. He grips the handle and, with a reluctant creak, pushes the door open. Suddenly, a bolt glances perilously close to their heads. They pivot to see a man brandishing a crossbow, advancing towards them. In a panic, the group rushes into the adjoining room, searching for any means of security. They quickly barricade the door with a nearby plank. Jake eyes a hammer lying on the floor, while Maya notices a vent high on the wall. "Jake," she urges, "that hammer might help us open the vent. We could all fit through." Jake nods and races toward the vent, just as a series of thuds reverberate against the door, dust swirling in the stale air. Sarah lets out a terrified shriek. "He's trying to get in. Hurry!" Without hesitation, Jake manages to pry the vent open. The door splinters as the man breaks through, stepping into the room with a sinister grin. "Now, this should be fun," he taunts, pulling a knife from his pocket. With no time to lose, Jake lunges at the man, swinging the hammer with all his might and connecting solidly with his face. Meanwhile, Matt decides to tackle the intruder, urgency spurring his actions. Suddenly, Jake's attention is drawn upward as he notices a concerning trickle of blood seeping from the ceiling, a silent reminder of the imminent danger that surrounds them. As the blood dripped onto the floor like rain, the man rose and exited the room, his footsteps echoing loudly before fading into silence. Suddenly, they ceased altogether, and a door slammed shut. Jake and Matt crawled through the vent, hastily rejoining the group. "I found some lockpicks," Alex announced. "As you all know, I'm skilled at picking locks on doors, cars, and so on. However, I believe we'll need to utilize this skill again, so let me show you how it's done." In a concise manner, Alex began to instruct the group. Meanwhile, Sarah wandered away, seeking a possible escape from the foul-smelling basement. Her gaze landed on another door, and she began to approach it cautiously, scanning her surroundings as she prepared to pick the lock. Just as she began her task, a spine-chilling whisper pierced the air. Startled, she turned to find a woman brandishing a knife. The assailant lunged at Sarah, slashing her arm in an attempt to pin her against the wall. Desperate for help, Sarah's cries went unheard. Realizing she had to fend for herself, she unleashed a powerful kick to the woman's knee and drove the lockpick into her eye. The woman stumbled back, her form disintegrating into ash, leaving the lockpick to clatter to the ground. Despite her injuries, Sarah managed to unlock the door, but the effort proved too much, and she collapsed, unconscious. Concerned by her prolonged absence, the group decided to search for her. Just as they prepared to leave, Emily noticed a dusty book titled The Myths of Hillsberry, standing upright on a nearby shelf. Curiosity piqued, she reached for it, opening the cover to reveal the names of herself and her friends inscribed within. Part 2 coming soon. Subscribe and turn on notifications for its release.